This has been a very challenging month. We've had some low lows and also some highs, some nice little highs. And I don't know if I would say I'm looking forward to it, but we will be sharing with you all of the things that have happened in the last month in episode 2 of Building a Business as a Couple.
So we're gonna start with the challenges and then we're gonna talk about the highs. We've written down some notes, so when I look down, that's why. And yeah, let's get started. So the first challenge kind of overall was that things took a lot longer than expected. And yeah, if expectations are not met, that leads to frustration, and I guess maybe me specifically, I felt quite a lot of it. In the first video, I think we mentioned that we're going through an online program called Experience Product Masterclass, and we had talked about like how fast we want to go through it. So in my mind, I was measuring our success on how well we're doing in terms of how far we got in this program. And yeah, there were like weeks basically where we didn't do any of the program, and that felt really frustrating to me, because then in my mind it's like, okay, we're not moving forward, even though we did other things that were important as well.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I know it was hard. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention about that is I can totally understand that frustration, and I also felt frustrated about that too. And something that I mentioned to Jan is I think it's also important for us to give ourselves some grace as well, because sure, there were things that we could have done faster, probably should have done faster, and there were a lot of things that we were doing for the first time. We were building this thing for the first time, or playing around with this for the first time. And also, when you start things, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, or just anyone, when you're starting something, you have a plan, and then, this thing now I have to do in order to get back on track with the plan. And so there were things that came up around that as well. So it's a both and. We definitely need to do some things faster, and we will. And there's a little bit of space for us to give ourselves some grace too.
One specific example I want to add, because it's kind of relevant here, is the YouTube video itself, the first one. When I thought about like, hey, let's document everything on YouTube, I thought we're gonna turn on the camera, just freestyle for 10 minutes, upload it, and that's it. And then you wanted to do it nicely, and I was like, yeah, actually it would be cool to do it nicely, because otherwise no one's gonna give a fuck. So then it became like, okay, what is the title of the new channel? What is the thumbnail? Let's optimize it. Let's take some photos. Let's choose the colors. So instead of taking an hour, it took like a whole week. And again, it was the first time, so hopefully this time it's going to be faster. But yeah, caused some frustration, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then that led into some decision points that we then needed to make about two things. Do we go to Bali, which is where we are now, to meet our friends, have a bit of a holiday? Jan lived here for a year and a half, so he also wanted to show me Bali, and we were already in Thailand, so it made sense to just make the plane over. And then also, do we do this Tantra retreat, which we actually ended up doing last week. It was a beautiful, amazing experience, and happy that we're in Bali, and also happy that we went to the Tantra retreat. And because we had not moved as quickly on some things as we had originally planned, we had some challenging decision points around, is this the right time to go to Bali and be on holiday when we really need to be working on our business? Is this the right time to take a full week off to go on this very immersive, reflective, deep experience, Tantra experience as a couple? Does that make sense? So in the end, I'm so happy we did both. So happy to see our friends here. So happy that we went to the Tantra retreat. We made some lifelong friends and connections there. And just walking you through some of the additional decision points that we've been making as we're living this nomadic lifestyle and also trying to build an empire.
Okay, I want to add one more thing here.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not sure if it's the right decision to do those things, to invest the money into this retreat and money to fly to Bali and all of that stuff, and the time, it comes from a place of fear or doubt. Like, the amount of money that we have, our runway, is just going to be long enough to build our business, to, get momentum and get income, cash flow. Because if I knew like 100% it's going to work, then I can wait a week longer. It's not a big deal. Like, we have the money to spend on this Tantra retreat, on this Bali trip. But yeah, because I don't have 100% confidence, I'm like, shit, maybe we need to focus more on the business and not spend money on anything that we don't need, but instead maybe spend money on the business and getting a business coach or like other people involved who can help us succeed. So yeah, those were kind of thoughts that came up for me. Next point.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I'll say about just the low lows, which is probably the lowest low that we experienced during this time, is that with the tense moments and the things are taking longer, and then for me not having the space, the infrastructure kind of set up around us for us to really focus on our business, which was a part of the delay and things moving forward, contributed to me feeling like the love and relationship that we have on a personal level is amazing, and I don't want to disrupt that, right? So for me, I was like, we don't have to do business together because I love you and I care about you and I want to build a family with you, and the business part we don't need. So I was definitely kind of lost in this thought pattern around, is this even a good idea? Will this disrupt our relationship? And when I'm not in those low moments, when I'm more grounded, and even if we're not, moving forward significantly, it feels really great. Of course we can do these things. And we connected with a few other couples and it was really helpful and validating, which we'll talk about in a minute. But when I'm in those low spaces, it feels dark. And so you really held space for me beautifully. I know that was really hard for you to receive. Yeah, this is really all we wanted to share. Like all of the dark thoughts and fears that come up for us as we're kind of navigating this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the highs and like lift the mood a little bit.
Let's talk about the highs. Amazing.
The first one is that we finished our first workbook. We conducted a survey for people who are in leadership management positions in organizations and who want to start their own impact-driven, location-independent business around their challenges and their motivations. And to tackle or help them overcome the first challenge, we created a whole workbook. And it turned out really amazing. Also, that took a little bit longer than we had planned, but it was a cool process, and I think we're both proud of the end result. The biggest challenge that we identified through that survey is worry. Like, those people worry about their ability to launch and then also sustain their own business. So that's what we focused on with that workbook, to help them overcome that worry. And if that's also for you or for anyone that you know, having that worry, then let us know, and we're happy to send over the workbook.
Yeah, amazing.
Cool. The second high was that we decided for a name for our company. So it's kind of like the umbrella company, where underneath will be this program that we're developing, which has its own name. We haven't decided that one yet, but the umbrella name is Collaborate Ventures.
We are going to share a video soon, or just share some content around why we chose Collaborate Ventures, what does that mean to us, how does this connect to our values and the way that we work with people. So more to come on that, but really exciting that we came up with that name. And we finalized our colors through the workbook process. So there are all these things that took longer, but then there were other things that we were doing along the way, as you mentioned. The other thing that's super exciting is that we spontaneously held our first business clarity and strategy workshop in Kopangan. It was an in-person event. I actually haven't facilitated in person in over 3 years. So since COVID, at least something like this. I've just been facilitating virtually, but facilitated in person for years before that. So it was really kind of an interesting process for me to get back into that and then to do it with Jan. It was such an amazing experience. It came up because Jan has a friend who owns this really amazing retreat center out in the jungle, really cool dome and a beautiful space, and he was like, yeah, you all should host an event there. And we were like, okay. So yeah, we didn't make progress on the program that Jan mentioned earlier, but then we hosted this event with some amazing entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who wanted some more clarity around their vision, wanted to examine their barriers, then also develop a 3-month roadmap. And it was really amazing to experience our energy as co-facilitators and also to hold space for all of these incredible humans to work on their impact-driven businesses. And it was such an amazing experience. We made a lot of great connections and also got some great testimonials from people who shared how impactful the experience was for them. So it was really cool to receive that. And that was a really nice kind of off-path thing that we dove into. And yeah, it definitely helped our business for sure.
Yeah, and our confidence, because we got amazing feedback, and we're probably gonna do a online version of that workshop, which I'm also really excited to create that, especially with your experience in like online workshop facilitation. Yeah,
it's my specialty. Yay! The last thing that I wanted to share that has been really impactful for me is that we recently started connecting with other couples who are building businesses together, either starting a business or have been doing it for several years. And it was really cool to also hear that they were experiencing challenges and that there were ups and downs as well, and that it's not an easy experience. And also what it invited me to reflect on is that whether your business partner is your romantic partner or your best friend or a former colleague, whoever it is, naturally there are challenges. Naturally there are super high highs and some low lows, and maybe some fears and worries about how this partnership will evolve, if it's a good idea to work together. And yes, we have an additional layer that's connected to our intimate partnership, and it really gave me a lot more confidence that, yeah, of course we could do this. Yeah, it felt really nice.
Cool. Yeah, that's it for today. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, then hit us up. Our Instagram handles or links are in the description below. And yeah, see you, I guess, in a month.
Yay. Ciao.
Bye.